so they'll travel, but this is our home base. And I just wanted to say, last time we were here, Elise was talking about different methods of eating less, and you mentioned something about a smaller spoon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, was that smaller spoon? Yeah, made with Michelle.
Okay, Michelle. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I actually tried that a couple of times, and it was an amazing thing. I was like, wow, I'm full, and I thought it was just the size of the spoon that was kind of psyching me out or whatever. But I felt really full, so I just wanted to thank you for that little tip. It helped me. Last time I was here, I was sharing with you guys about habits and kind of developing a support system. And today I wanted to talk about a winner's mindset, and just kind of share some things with you on that, and just really give you some principles, because a lot of what we struggle with in life, regardless of the situation, it's usually something that if we attack it and really get our handle on it in our minds, it'll make a bigger difference for us. So I wrote a book. It's called 31 Days. It's called Room for Greatness, 31 Days to Empower Life. It's a real cool book. You put it on your desk, kind of pops up like a little calendar. It's just 31 days of positive things, positive affirmations. And I wanted to read what today's was, just so you can get an example of what's in there. I'll just read the title for you. It's day 3. Be solution-oriented. Your legacy will be told by the answers you provide and the solutions you create. So, and then each day has a kind of a bold overtone, and then it goes into, usually the days have a little funny story in them or something real cute and positive to keep you going throughout the day, and it's something good that's sitting right in your desk, sitting right in front of your face. I actually had a lady that bought one, and I said, so where are you going to put it? She said, I'm going to put it on my husband's side of the nightstand. Because he needs it more than me. And I said, okay, as long as it gets in the house, that's fine. So if I were to ask anyone in this room what success meant to them, probably I'd get, as many people in here, I'd get a different answer. And the funny thing about success is that success always leaves clues, as well as failure. Failure leaves clues as well. But when we talk about success, there comes a time in our lives where we have to redefine what it means to us. I grew up in a home that was my mother had very high expectations, and I didn't realize it until I was way into my 20s that what I wanted and what I was doing and my success and what I considered a success versus a failure, I didn't realize it until I was in my 20s that I was living what my mother's definition was for me. And many of us in the room tonight can honestly, kind of define that most of our lives, or at least a part of our lives, we spent it living someone else's definition of what success was. And that's a hard thing because it's never satisfying. It's something that you never reach. You can never really say, I've satisfied that, because it's someone else's definition. In order to truly be successful, personally, I believe that the first thing you have to do is decide what success means to you. Now, as we went around, some of you shared some of the success rates and some of the things that you've accomplished since your surgery. To you, that's successful. But if you were living by someone else's standards, they would say, you still have a ways to go, and you have this, or you have that. If your definition of success is, I'm going to get through today and not eating junk food, and you do that, that's successful.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily what someone else can define for you, because they're not you, they don't live in your body. And you have to decide tonight, or at some point in your life, what success means to you. I was watching, I'm kind of a nerd with television. I watch a lot of Discovery Channel. They had a show about bugs. It was real cool. They were talking about fleas. And they were saying that the average flea, the average household flea or garden variety flea, can jump about 24 inches from the ground. That's pretty high. That's how they get on the dog, the cats, whatever. They're jumping. So they took some fleas and they put them in a 6-inch canister and kept them in the canister for a certain amount of time. And do you know that when they took the lid off, the fleas didn't jump out? Because they had been jumping the whole time they were in the 6-inch canister, and their heads were hitting, the flea heads were hitting the lid. And what happened was, when they took the lid off, nobody gave the fleas the memo that there's nothing stopping you.
They're afraid.
They're afraid, exactly. And we've all bumped our heads at some time. I'm 39, and I've had some serious situations happen, and I can say, wow, I've really learned a lot from that. And what I found was it wasn't so much just the situation that happened, it was the experience that it taught me. So much so that there are times that I feel like I should be able to jump higher than I have jumped, but because I've always hit that lid in my life, I didn't try to jump in. So now we have these fleas who have the capability to go 24 inches high. They're only jumping 6 inches because they've been held down. When we start really kind of thinking about the winner's mindset, the first thing we do is we redefine what success means to us. The second thing is we jump again. You know, I loved your story about, you know, you made that defining moment. You had that situation in your life that says, you know what, I'm making a change now. We can all go around the room and identify that we had those moments where we said, you know what, something hasn't changed because I'm tired of the limitation. That's what that lid means. That lid means a limitation, and that's universal. Whether it's deciding whether to have a surgery, deciding to look for another job, or deciding to remarry, it's a limitation. There are lids in our lives that have held us to that 6-inch mark when we can jump so much further and so much higher. There are four things that I believe that winners kind of have to redefine. So we talked about success. There are 4 more things I want to share with you. The first thing is winners redefine what fear means. Now, how many of you have fears? Some type of fear. Okay. I have a thing about heights. Anything over the 5th floor, I don't particularly like to look out of the window because I get queasy. And it's weird because my dad was a roofer, and I spent a lot of summers working with him on high ceiling, but it probably tormented me a lot, so that probably aids in the beds my fears. My wife, if you walk down the street, you see a dog, she's going to cross the street. Yep.
Very quickly.
I mean, she's crossing the street because she has had bad experiences with dogs. The thing about a fear is it's just unfocused energy. And I always thought that fear, or having courage rather, was doing what you're afraid of because you're strong. And it wasn't until after I heard former Mayor Rudy Giuliani speak after 9/11 that I got a better perception of what courage versus fear was. He was sharing at the University of Kent at a lecture, and I happened to sit in on it. He said that courage, he found a new definition of courage by watching the firefighters and the policemen in 9/11 in New York. He always thought courage was having the strength to do something. But after seeing them, he said that courage was actually doing what you're afraid to do because you have a greater purpose. It's doing what you're afraid to do. It doesn't alleviate the fear, but it's a greater purpose then because while you do it. He watched people running from a burning building while men and women were running towards it. And that redefined, it was a paradigm shift for him. It redefined what courage meant for him. And I think that for winners, we have to redefine what fear means. It doesn't mean that we're weak. Doesn't mean that we're wishy-washy or we need to make a decision right away. It just means that we have some unfocused energy and we have to go back to what our purpose is and really define what that means to it. The second thing is not only do we redefine fear, but we redefine what failure means. Thomas Jefferson said, I've not failed 10,000 times. I found 10,000 ways that don't work for me. So, and really, once you redefine what success means for you, it's going to make it easier to redefine what failure means, because we live in a kind of a black and white society where you either pass or fail. There's no gray area with things. But for you, you have to find out where the experience is. What looks like a failure to some people may actually be an experience that you grow from for yourself. So you have to, and no one can make that decision for you. No one can write that down for you. Excuse me, that's something that you have to develop for yourself. I redefine what failure means. It looks like I'm failing, but I'm actually gaining more and more strength in the next time, and then the next time, and then the next time. It's just going to keep getting better. So you redefine fears, you redefine failures, and the third thing is you redefine faults. A lot of times when we talk, and I share about it in the book, a lot of people speak from what I call excuse-based languages. It's always somebody else's fault. If you have any children in your house, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I have several children, and I come in and I say, well, who spilled it? Not me. Who did it? I don't know. If I could find not me and I don't know, I could pretty much hold them accountable for what's going on in my life and in my family, in my home. But a lot of times that same mentality comes with us through adolescence, preteens, and early adulthood. And we say, well, why did this happen? Not me. It wasn't me. But at some point, what winners do is they own the experience. They say, you know what, I'm a big person. I'm grown. I'm an adult. I'm a man, I'm a woman. I can say, you know what, I didn't do this as best I could, but I make a commitment to myself that next time I'm going to actually do that.